Hello everybody, it's that time again where I take one of my fans' decks and try and see what I can do with it. Today I've been given a deck list from Bubba, so thank you Bubba for the Judith deck list. I think she's a really awesome card. Wonderful art, wonderful abilities. Other creatures get +1/+0, which is a pretty strong anthem, and whenever a non-token creature you control dies, she deals 1 damage to any target. So the deck wants a lot of death to happen, essentially. So if you haven't seen what I do before, I take someone's deck list and I try and build as much of it as possible without using too many wildcards. I only have 1 rare and 2 mythics, so I might not even be using any of these here, depending on what I think needs to be crafted. And just because playing on a budget, essentially, I know that sounds crazy given how many rares and mythics I have, but I very rarely put money into the game, so try and use what I have. Try and be economic, because you never know when you want to save your wildcards. So let's look at the lands first and see which ones we can take out and replace. How many lands do we have? 36. Okay, so as going into this, I'm going to be as true to the original deck list as possible, so I'll respect the original deck list. We've got Garbage Sanitarium, each player draws discards. I don't think we need that. It's not vital to the strategy of the deck. Mutavault is very good. However, again, I don't think we're going to need that, especially because it can die and we only have 36 lands. So let's get rid of this. Fabled Passage. We actually do have this, but Arena is a weird system where if you have it unlocked under a different set, it doesn't actually see it, which is weird because clearly I do have one here, but it's reprinted in M21, which is a bit annoying. Mount Doom, again, really cool, but we won't be needing that in this deck. Again, this is just an example of what you can cut, because you know, everyone plays decks differently, but this is just my example, and you don't have to copy it to the T. What I'm going to do is try and just fill it with as many rare duels as I have. So it's just all about improvisation, to be honest, to see what you can build from what you have. Do we have any rare duels in here? No, looks like Bubba's gone for all of them, I think. Even, let's have a look at the not collected. We're only missing the Smoldering Marsh and Mount Foreboding Ruins. Now, this is okay. This is actually an uncommon that used to be a rare. So I'm actually happy to craft this uncommon, because uncommons and commons are kind of like so plentiful these days, aren't they? And we'll pop that in. And to be honest, there's quite a lot of utility in the deck as is. Just going by how many colourless lands we have. So I think we can just populate the rest with a few basics. And that makes me happy for now. So that goes up back to the 36 land count, which respects the original build. Don't forget to have snow mountains if you have stuff like blood on the snow, and snow swamps, of course. So that's why I've left the snows in there. Working our way backwards, Rankle's Prank. So Rankle's Prank is interesting to have in the deck without Rankle. So I feel like I just feel like Rankle is just a slide in, considering that he cares about pretty much the same things. And actually, I think Rankle is better than Rankle's Prank, because Rankle is a creature which benefits from the power boost of Judith, and when he dies, 1 damage to any target, which is pretty groovy. What else do we have? So luckily, I've got all these unlocked. So as this series goes on, you'll find that I probably have more and more cards unlocked, and it will be less about what I'm replacing because I don't have, and more like what I'm replacing because I think is better. A Fearmancer. Is that worth a rare wild card? I don't think so. If you don't have a snake on your upkeep, create one. Let's just take that out for now. It's okay. And Lord Skitter, which one of the new cards? Whenever another rat enters exile and beginning of combat on your turn, create. Okay, so let's see what we can replace with those two, creating cards, because I just don't want to spend wild cards on those, because I don't think they're going to hit that many decks, to be honest. Let's go rare, mythic, 3 slot. These filters are going to be very helpful. So there we go, Black Market Connections, already an instant shoe in there. And maybe Sedgemoor Witch, depending on how many instants. There's 17 instants in sorcery, so I think Sedgemoor Witch is pretty good. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, you create a 1/1, and it gains you life when they die. Callous Blood Mage is a close second. We could have also gone for, what else? Jaren would have been okay, just because he creates a thing. Chandra creates 2 things. And you sacrifice them. Wow, I'm starting to think Chandra would actually be pretty awesome. Legion War Boss. There's a lot of things that I want to change, but I think for now we'll respect the original CMC and build, and we'll come back to those later on after a few games. We have Goblin Bombardment. Now, this is a very good card. That's a rare. Oversold Cemetery. That's also a rare. Stone of Eric and Song of Toad and Tance. Create rat tokens with haste. Now, I think this is incredible. We only have one rare now. Goblin Bombardment is so good, though. Oversold Cemetery, I think that's too hard to do. If you have 4 or more creature cards, yeah. Especially because we're not going to have too many regular creatures anyway, given how many tokens we're going to make. Bombardment or Song of Toad and Tance. This is so powerful. X 1/1s or sacrifice a creature. Deal 1 damage to any target. Oh my goodness, this is hard. I think we're gonna go for the bombardment because I think it works in more decks. To be honest with you, not collected. Take these filters off. We've got raid, but whenever a creature control power 2 attacks, 1 damage to the player or planes. Oh, that's good as well. Anything with the word bombardment apparently is quite good. This seems pretty decent. Power 2 or less, but then what if they have too much power? That's the only issue. No, I think we'll make the bombardment. It's just such a good card. It's a tried and tested card, and we took out a token maker. So let's go back to the create token cards we have in our collection here. So we've got Bitter Blossom, which is already good. Jadar, Piper of the Swarm. Doesn't make anything on impact, which is a bit annoying. This creates rats that then we can sacrifice. That seems pretty good, a tribute to Hirobi. What's our curve like? 2 and 3 seems quite heavy with 36 lands. Might want some more 1-drops maybe, but there's not many 1-drops that make tokens, are there? Oh, this is ever so tricky. 36 lands. Kind of want to have lower curve things. What exists at lower slots here? I guess a Femia would be good if we had more enchantments. Tangled Connolly. When it dies, create that many tokens. That seems okay. I think we'll put that in. And then that creates... Yeah, we'll go for Tribute to Hirobi here. So, this is the list, I think, that will suffice for now. We'll give it a few games. Okay, so any hand with Bitter Blossom is probably going to be a keep here, especially when we have the Deadly Dispute to sack them, get more things out of them. I can already see a slight issue. Maybe we need more dual colour lands and less colourless, I think, but can't really go wrong with the Bitter Blossom here. So in our upkeep, we should be making one. And then we're probably going to sack it to the Dispute and get ourselves a land, hopefully. Blight Belly Rats. So they are going for the old toxic route here. 2/2 toxic 1. I think we just do this now, because if we miss a land drop, this is going to suck. 36 lands feels pretty low, but we did get one there. Comes in tap, sadly, the land. But we might be able to get out of this. Spiteful Banditry. Makes damage to each creature. Whenever one of the creatures your opponent controls dies, you create a treasure. Wow, so this is a black version, a red version of the Massacre. And are they going to kill the Bitter Blossom here? That's going to be pretty annoying. That sucks. Okay. So I think we can go for Arena because we missed a land drop. Yeah, 36 lands. Oh, it's too few, I think. Far too few. But this is a good little test to see how we can improve this deck. So they're not going to have the Attractor this turn, but they do have the Blight Belly Rat dealing more toxic, which is kind of scary. And they're going to go for the Biting Palm Ninja, which reveals our hand and lets us discard. Now, this is a very strange build. What? Why does the Biting Palm Ninja go in the deck? I guess because they remove a counter, but they don't have any counters on us anymore. So unless they have lots of ninjutsu, I don't really know what they're going to do here. But oh well. Another land. So I've got 5 mana. Return to each opponent's critical. This is good, but it's a bit early for that, I think. Chaos Wand seemed expensive as well. 1, 2, 3. Maybe we go for the Skullport Merchant just so we can block this silly thing. And yeah, we'll go for the old Judith. Why not? We're drawing 2 cards a turn now. We can take a few risks. And also, if they do go for the Atraxa, we have a kill spell as long as we draw on the land. And we can also put counters on something here to give it lifelink as well. There's a lot of interesting things with Gix's command that I've never actually used this card before because there's so many better alternatives in my opinion. Things like Eldest Reborn, I think, is much better than this, and also the other Gix Saga as well. So now they're going to proliferate our poison and not bother attacking, which is fair enough. We can deal with it as long as we draw a land. And thank God we did. So each opponent sacks creature with the highest power. And we'll put counters on something. We'll put it on Judith, I think. And even this one hit is going to be nice because it gains us 4, which means we can just we can feel a little bit safer having the Phyrexian Arena around. Decadent Dragon. So I'm seeing a lot of cards here that I don't normally use, obviously because this is a fan-submitted deck. Exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library. You may look at and play those cards as long as they remained exiled. Okay. Vorinclex is something annoying. Okay, so that's terrifying if they get any Planeswalker in the following turn. So what do we do here? What do we do? X damage to each creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't block. That's annoying. What do we do? I mean, we can block with these. Oil counter, then create Phyrexian things. Oh well, I think we're just going to go Lucky Dip here. I really don't want them to ultimate Planeswalkers, but we shall see. 2 lands, of course. Of course. Okay, I guess we're just going to... So this is going to die anyway, right? Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. So we could be in a hell of a lot of trouble now. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if Bubba read that part. Non-token creatures only. Okay, so now they've got Garrick with 10 loyalty. Yeah, that is pretty much game over, I think, here.
And hungry.
That's 15 coming in. Jeez. Well, the part of the enjoyment of this video is going to see how we can improve this deck, because I can already see some glaring issues, but yeah, the fact there's not any quick removal is kind of bad. And we can't deal with the Garrick. We have no removal spells unless we get something with a Chaos Wand. Let's see. What do we get? We get Experimental Augury, yay! Which actually doesn't do anything, because we cannot proliferate due to the Vorinclex. Cool, let's give them a counter. And yeah, this was kind of an absolute trouncing here, but you know what? We're going to go into the next game with a lot more knowledge, and let's see how we can improve this deck. Okay, so sadly we got very annihilated in that first game, so we're going to go through some edits here just to strengthen the curve a bit, and we want to synergize with this ability a bit more. Basically, anything that makes tokens doesn't actually work, really. I mean, it gives them power boost, but if they die, there's no damage. So I feel like we want to kind of prioritize both if possible. So the first thing I really want to do is sort out these lands, because any tap lands in an aggressive deck they're just not very good, to be honest. So we're going to reduce some of them. So we're going to take out Immer Storm, Arch of Vraska, Fabled Passage in 2-color just doesn't work. Inventor's Fair is too slow. Maestro's Theatre is too slow. Also 2-color deck, not feeling that. Mirex it makes tokens, not really bothered. Relic Tower, we're not going to be drawing loads of cards. Nykthos, we're a 2-color deck. So those are the quick cuts there, very quick. I think we can leave those other cards in here. Hive, Mines. Mines is too slow. But Bog is good, Barada is fine. Hive, okay, fine. So now we're just going to basically swap them out for basics, because we've got as many of the duels as possible, really. Try and get an even spread here. And we're going to try and get to 40 lands, because the algorithm was a bit rough. I know that was only one game, but sometimes you just get a feeling for things. Balrog too slow. Blonde the Snow too slow. Academ's Awakening it's okay. I think Ironcrag, again, this is too slow for this format. 3 to equip is just crazy. Spiteful Banditry, this is okay, but I think this is better in a control build where you have a lot more time and mana. X being a high number, so we're going to get rid of this here. Swiftfoot Boots, I don't think is that important in a deck with a 3 mana commander that wants everything else to kill them. So yeah, this is going to be a lot of cuts, unfortunately. The Forge, again, that didn't feel so good because of the non-token parts here. The fact we have no hand disruption is slightly concerning. So this is going to be a huge overhaul, I'm afraid, but this is just the way the format is. It's just the way the format is. We're going to have Thoughtseize, Inquisition. This is basically a primer how to build a Rakdos deck. We're going to have Duress, because if you don't have these cards, Control will just absolutely annihilate you. We don't have a life game strategy, really. So, Witch of the Moors is going to be gone, I'm afraid. Shielded is okay. Gix's Command, too slow. Okay, that's good. So anything, whenever another non-token creature control dies. Okay, so now we're going to look at stuff that says whenever dies. Because now we're going to try and optimize on the death triggers here. Whenever dies, okay. So let's see what we have. Minar Reaper seems good. Body Launderer could be okay. Falconwrath Noble, pardon me. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies. Okay, Grave Pact already great inclusion. I think Lolth is great here. So Conrad. I think Liliana's okay. Remember, because we've got 40 lands now, we can stretch a bit further. Anax is interesting because he replaces himself. He cares about dying. I think... What else cares about dying? Whenever dies... Weatherlight Completed is interesting to draw cards. Whenever another creature you control dies, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, deals one energy. That's an interesting card. I'm happy to try this. Ayara is about... She's kind of about dying. Decadent Dragon, I think that just doesn't fit the build. It's too random. And I do apologize for being so cutthroat here, but it's just the way it is. You have to be very aggressive. Crocs is good. Bank Job. Culligan's Command, Mayhem Devil, Obnixilis. Rowan would be okay if we cared about life loss. Chainer, Carder, forces attacks. Widespread Ruin. Bosh. Okay. The lands seem fine for now. So we're at 107. So let's make a few cuts. Future opponent controls dies, exile instead. I don't really want this to replace death triggers, because if they exile, they will not die. And what else have we got? Invasion of Asgol, that's good. So we have stuff that like makes incidental tokens, which I think is fine. But if the whole thing is about making tokens, I'm not too fond of that. Braids. A lot of these cards are fantastic. That's great, great, great. Can't really complain about these. How do I feel about this rat now that tokens don't trigger? Yeah, maybe not. Ghoulish Procession. Dies, create a token. How do we feel about these cards? They'll get the attack boost, but not the death boost. I think Fake Your Own Death is too slow. Where's the Amass thing? I mean, this is the thing about Amass. This thing makes consistent creatures, right? But then they don't trigger. And they don't go sideways. It just goes on top of each other. That's a tricky one. Village Rites, Vampiric Rites. I honestly think Vampiric Rites is too slow. And we also don't have Fatal Push, which is 100% required in this format where there's monkeys running around. Malakir Rebirth, too slow. Not Dead After All, too slow as well. 2 cards. Let's cut the Garner. I think we're just going to cut the Liliana to be more aggressive here. And I think this is a better shell. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is not many kill spells for the black side of things. So destroy creature would probably be a lot more necessary. So Infernal Grasp is just incredibly good. Feed the Swarm, probably necessary as well, given how many enchantments are in the format. Powerbird Kill is also good. And I do like Elspeth's Nightmare as well. But there's just not enough slots here. There's just not enough slots. So maybe we take out Tribute. Again, that just makes tokens. I mean, it's a tricky one, right? You do want tokens, but I like to optimize on 2 tangents, 2 Venn diagrams, circles, not just 1 circle. 40 lands. Take out the Academ's Awakening. Okay. How's this? Feels more aggressive. We've got rid of the unnecessary expensive cards. We care more about... I think it's a bit tighter. We got rid of the loose threads. I think we have to test this in the field. Right, let's see if we can get some revenge here. We've got the Angrath's Rampage, which is a good keep here because they have a Planeswalker. But sadly, it's an elf build, so they might be very, very fast with the elves here. Pajuka is an iffy one for me. I think it's good, but borderline cuttable in a lot of formats just because coming in tapped is rough. It really, really is. Elfish Visionary, okay. Let's start with the Jadar, get a bit aggressive. And then next turn, if they go for the Tyvar, I think we just go for the Rampage, sort that out. And the issue is the -2 can potentially return another elf, which means another blocker. Assemble the team, so they're going to go for searching their library rather than establishing the field with a Tyvar, which is interesting. This means they must be low on resources, because I think I would have slammed the Tyvar there. Elfish Mystic. Okay, so they've got lots of fodder, annoyingly. So, do we go for Blood Artist and Inquisition, I think? Let's just have a peek and see what we're working with now. Oh my god, they're all huge drops, and a card I've never seen before. Deathbloom Ritualist. Add X mana of any one color X number of creature cards in your graveyard. Wow. That can be pretty good. So Blood Artist is nice because it doesn't care where the creature comes from. Whereas Judith is interesting. She cares about every creature for the buff and only non-token for the death trigger. So we'll see. They could go for a Whisperer here. Oracle of Mordai, so they want more lands, which they do find. And a Herald on top. Nothing to be too concerned with just yet, I suppose. Let's go for the Falconwrath Noble, so now if things die, we get even more death triggers. They might be killing that with a Vivian Reed. Not 100%, but they could. So now when zombies die, it's 2 damage. It's pretty good. We keep making more and more guys, so Jadar is proving to be excellent here. Despite the token death not synergizing with Judith, it does synergize with a lot of other things in the deck, so it's a very fine balance. So he comes in. Look at the top 7, real Elf, Warrior, or Tyvar. Put them into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of the library in any order. Interesting card. Elf, Warrior, or Tyvar. So he gets another Elf. So against their deck, I'm terrified of stuff like Creative Behemoth abilities. They're coming in with a 1/1. Why? Is that because they want to get it in the graveyard for the Tyvar? Feels a bit interesting. That's strange. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go for Judith here. And we should make them sack something now, I think, because just fewer blockers, right? Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. So yeah, the damage is really going to come in strong here. It's getting to a point where we can just pretty much attack with everything. Because if they have nothing left... So swing with this, swing with this. If we swing with Jadar, would they trade? They probably would trade. Would they? No, I don't want to lose Jadar. Would have been another... That would have been another 2 damage, but... Okay, down to 6. So they're going to have to do something good here. They might even have to go for the Vivian Reed, killing the Falconwrath Noble. I'm not 100% sure. If they don't do... I think they're just dead either way, because the issue now is that they can't block. Because if they block and kill our things, then they still lose life. Wow, this deck is pretty crazy. Now they are definitely dead, even though they did that. So, and the Tyvar, what can they possibly do here?
Let's see what this hex gold can do.
They don't even have any blockers, really. Wow, okay, that felt very, very swift. And a lot better than the first game, which is good. I'm going to mulligan this, because although it is a good curve, it's very passive and there's no aggression here. And this is interesting. We've got a kill spell for their early ramp. Bitter Blossom makes the hand incredibly good. Okay. We'll see how we go. Yeah, Bitter Blossom and Grave Pact is kind of crazy. I really want them to play a 1/2 drop here so we can fatal push it though. Yes, this is absolutely perfect sequencing for us. Because now we can kill that. And it's like their turn didn't happen. Lagomos. Yeah, some interesting things to do here. Do you want to go for Lagomos? You can combat, create a 2/1. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Seems pretty good for an uncommon. They're playing their fetch lands before the Tatiova comes down, which is intriguing. But yeah, the interesting thing here as well, Grave Pact doesn't care what kind of creature you have. Which means when our token dies, their creatures also die. So if all goes well, in our turn we go for the Snow-Covered Swamp, Grave Pact, the One Ring. Okay, that's terribly not good. Protection from everything, interesting. Okay, I guess we'll go for the Judith. They're not going to have any kind of board wipes. I mean, we might as well attack, just a show of force. So the most annoying thing they can do is the River's Rebuke, of course. Or extra turns, I suppose. But they will start losing some life to the One Ring here. And yeah, I don't really want to show the Grave Pad because I don't want them to just blow it up. I'd rather get this out and use the Village Rites in the same turn. So here comes Tatiova. They'll probably play a land of some kind. Only having green open is fine with me. Green open is far better than blue open. It means we can kind of do what we want. Unless I got Pact of Negation, that would be annoying, but... interesting. We now have quite the attack force. And what are they going to do? They're going to... They had Beseiju. See, this is exactly what I was talking about. So let's use this to get rid of this token here. So at least we kill the Tatiova, but man, one green. Kind of annoying. We get to draw 2 cards out of this, which is nice. A Braid sadly doesn't kill the One Ring, but it does kill the Tatiova. Actually, let's just check what other land types. Yeah, we'll go for Canyon Slough here. If 5 or more creatures died, I would have been able to do something else there, but it's okay. This will have to do for now. We could have tutored for a card. Down to 13. Oh, Grave Pact lasted no longer than 30 seconds there. 4, 5, 6, 7. Cyclonic Rift overloaded. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that was I was worried of there. But they are losing life to the One Ring, so not really complain too much. Bitter Blossom. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go for Lagamos. We're going to try and use Judith as like a finisher because she gives everything a power boost. And yeah, go for the Jury as well. They've used 1 trump card. Wow. Wow. This deck is absolutely on fire. So we get to go first with a slow hand. No actual creatures early on is going to make this pretty tough, but the Prosper's kind of good. I think I'm going to mulligan this. This is actually... I guess it's okay. If we get 3 mana, we can use the Village Rites with the Croxer after holding priority. To its ETB trigger, we can sack it to draw 2 cards, so that's kind of neat. Or we could just use it here and get it into the bin. Because we have the Woe Strider Goat token anyway, so it kind of still works. If we don't top deck a land, we're going to be in trouble. Because Rocco just gains way too much advantage by itself. Cold Steel Heart. Okay, and we get a land. So I think now we go for the Facebreaker because we want to be able to ramp. And whenever one of our creatures hits, we get treasure, which is going to be useful. Especially with something like a Rocco out and 4 toughness, we want to be able to kill it with something like the Rankle. But then what do we sack? Maybe we want to go for Woe Strider first? Gwenna for the Rampage. Okay. Haunted Ridge. Yeah, that's a real shame we can't actually stop this, but I think we're going to go for the Woe Strider here. Just because we want to get the Goat token out and then use that as a kind of like a proxy as a creature so we can sack it later on. And we can sack something with the Village Rites if they do target our things. They do have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana for creatures though, which is kind of scary. And they can untap it if the creature spell is power 5 or greater. and they put a counter on Gwenna. So this is a very strong ramp creature. I think this definitely went under the radar. Untapping it is mega strong. And the Ajani is just a small indication of what their deck is about. So it's a counters deck, essentially. They're just going to play a very, very small Micaeus. Okay. And an ochre jelly. And a rosy cotton of South Lane. Wow. Okay, all sorts of going wide stuff. They're trying to set up the Micaeus. I don't want to use the village rights here. Diabolic Intent. Oh, interesting. Now I'm wondering what to do. Maybe we go for the Rankle. What kind of defenses do they have here? I think we can just attack with both of these things. Or sorry, all three of these things without too much hindrance. Whenever one or more creatures deal damage, we get a treasure, so we're going to ramp. Go to 15. We'll go for draw and sack, I think. Get rid of the goat. We take care of one of their creatures. And how scary is this going to be in their turn? So they're going to untap. Put counters on all their stuff. Do we really care about counters? I think we'll just go for the Annex. And then in the following turn, we can maybe tutor for an answer. The field's really good, but again, I'm not too worried just yet. We've literally got nothing in the graveyard apart from the Croxer, which is sad, but we can soon change that with a Woe Strider if we have to. And the other nice thing is, with the Judith, if we get Judith out, Woe Strider can just basically say sack a creature, deal 1 damage to any target, as long as we sack a non-token, which we don't have any of right now. And they're just going to go for Rocco. Interesting. I really wish I had another goat. And the other cool thing with Anax is that if we lose a creature with power 4 greater, we get two satyrs, which then we can sack again with the Woe Strider. But at that point, if they die, the Judith won't deal any damage. So what have they got here? I feel like they've got some kind of removal. Dromoka's Command. They're going to have it fight. Sacrifice another creature. Okay, that's a shame. We do get a replacement. I don't know if that was a good or a bad move from them, to be honest. Okay, so because we have aerial superiority, I'm not really bothered about giving them... So what will they get? They'll get a counter on a creature and a food token. Attacks are already pretty hard anyway. So let's just play the land that they've kindly given us. Okay. See, as I said, the ground is not where I'm really that bothered here. Go for the intent, sacrificing the token. So we can get any card. What would be good for 4 mana versus their field? We've got black, black, red, red. Annoyingly, the Grave Pat isn't going to be cutting it here because of the triple. Bastion, Black Market, Play Crafter. What can we do? There's not that many great options, to be honest. Maybe something else that can sack and do something else? Braids. I actually do not know what to do here. It's kind of a tricky one. There's too many options. What do we do? What do we do? Fatal push? That's a bit boring, isn't it? Do we just go for the one ring? I mean, that's the boring answer, isn't it? That is the boring answer. I guess we don't need to use it yet. Wow, we just ran out of time, which is crazy because the amount of times the opponents use combo and they can go off forever. But yeah, I really want to play the Judith there first. That is a shame. Sack, discard, and I guess lose me even more life here, I think. So they're going to do that first. Discard here. And I think we're going to get rid of the... I think we'll get rid of the face breaker now. Because I want to keep getting 1/1s out of this, yeah. It's annoying because I wanted to play the Judith to do 1 extra damage as well, but oh well. Down to 10. I'm really not sure what they can really do to kind of threaten us too much, especially with the 1 ring out now. Then I think we just passed a turn. What can Rocco do? A full scale attack wouldn't do much. Incubation Druid doesn't feel like it's going to be enough either. Putting a counter on there means this taps for 3. Maybe I should have gone for something more aggressive. Like a Plaguecraft to make us each sack. Maybe that would have been better, but I just don't feel like I'm that worried. Until they go for Crater Hoof Behemoth. Or something like that. But again, we've got the 1 ring, which means they can do nothing to us. Our permanents can suffer, though. They can destroy our things. Or exile things. So they're going to pass? Are they let's going to untap with the 1 ring, I wonder. They are looking at it. I genuinely think this Rancor could potentially take us to the finish line. They can gain... they've got the potential to gain up to 9 life here. What exactly are they doing? They're just going to get to the end step. Okay. Brotherhood's End can literally destroy all the artifacts. That's actually a really amazing draw. It stops them having an extra mana source and can stop them gaining life in the future too. What on earth are they waiting for here? Mayhem Devil, that makes things incredibly... That is powerful. Let's draw here. They've still got a lot of mana though. 3, 4. They can't use that yet. So what land should we play? I think we'll play Castle Loch Thwain. 3 damage to each creature in each planeswalker. Am I that bothered about this? I really wish we had 8 mana. That kind of sucks. We could go for Croxer. Then it still has 3 mana for the Mayhem Devil. Judith. Oh my goodness, there are so many lines. Lolth means we can only do a 2-drop after, so that's not good. I think we definitely want to go for Mayhem Devil. That's definitely something we want to start off with, because that means they have to sack their foods now. Otherwise, the Mayhem Devil will start pinging them for 1. I wonder if they realise that Mayhem Devil says each, or sorry, whenever any player sacrifices a permanent. Interesting. So now whenever they sack these foods, they're going to lose 1 life in addition. And we will lose the Woe Stride if we go for the Croxer. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Go for the Midnight Reaper. Interesting. Go over the top. Soul Partition. Right, so it looks like they do care about the Rankle. Interesting. So now they're going to realise that the Mayhem Devil was probably the one they should have gone for, unless they have another answer. So they could have actually used a partition on the 1 ring, but it would actually have helped us by reducing the number of counters. Branching Evolution. So until they have something terrifying, I'm really not that bothered here. So even the Fabled Passage now hurts them. And they're not going to attack. Okay, this is a very stalematy game. A Braid. Their toughness is so high here. I don't really want to play that land because it's going to give them another food. Let's draw a card and see what we get. Oh, sorry, we're going to draw 3, should I say. Impact Tremors. Creature enters, 1 damage to each opponent. Okay, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can go for Lolth. Let's see what they do after the Lolth. 3 mana still.
You reek with terror.
Let's try Judith, I think.
Exquisite.
And then create some more fodder as well.
I will get what I want.
And then we can just wait. I'm not really sure what we're waiting for, but I guess we're going to do an Alpha Strike in the following turn. And we can also go for maybe Woe Strider or something. So food only gains them 2 here. Rather than the 3. I've probably missed a lot of lines of play here, but oh well. They're up to 17. That's a considerably huge bump. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if they get a Crater Hoof here, I think we could just die. Depending on what's actually in their deck. Do they have one? So they get +5/+5 on all their creatures. They actually missed, which is really unlucky. I think now they're in trouble because they just spent 7 mana doing nothing. Missing with that is probably going to cost them the game, sadly. Look at the top 7, put a creature down. If it was CMC 3 or less, it enters with 3 additional counters. Okay. So we've spent a long time setting up our field. And they get a Basri's Lieutenant, and we lose 3. Okay, and we get a Bedevil as well. I think we're just going to draw and lose here. So we are losing a bit of life, but as I said, the Zulaport Cutthroat is going to be great.
I always reward the loyal.
So many things we can do. We could literally attack with everything, and then if they block, we can deal 3 damage to all their stuff. So maybe that's the way forward. Kind of adamant playing Impact Tremors here. I know it's good to set up, but I feel like I want to have a few more surprises. If we go for Rankle, then we'll only have 1 mana open as well after. No, let's just go for an attack here. I want to kind of surprise them. So they don't know we have the Brotherhood's End. So we're just going to actually just attack with everything. I think we just win, right? Because if we lose a creature, it drains them for 1. And we can ping them for 1 as well. Okay. Interesting. So that's how it's going to work. Right. So let's be careful how we do this. So we have a lot of triggers. We got a lot of loyalty as well. 1 damage. Well, we don't have enough to kill them, so let's go 1 damage on the Rocco here. Just to make it 3 toughness or less, essentially, for the Brotherhood's End. And we'll do the rest at their Musper. I can't actually see how many we have, which is slightly annoying. Actually, would it have been lethal with the Zulaport Cutthroat? I'm not entirely sure. That's a shame. There are 20 triggers here, but we'll never actually be able to know. It's really hard to see. But yeah, take my word for it. They were going to be dead either way. So essentially, after the editing, I felt like it hit a really sweet spot. The lands are a lot smoother now. It is tempting to put in colourless utility lands, but to be honest, I'm so greedy for coloured mana that I would rather just have consistency than utility. In 4 players, you have a lot more time to do nothing. So in 4-player Paper Commander, yeah, I'd say go a bit more wild with the colours utility, but in 1v1, you need to consistently hit your mana sources, especially if you're using mana-intensive cards like Grave Pact, which is triple black. It is surprisingly hard to hit triple black. And every colourless land you include in the deck decreases using this card by 1 turn, at least, because it's just so difficult to play. Keep your curve aggressive as much as possible. So I guess I've learned that you can use tokens in the deck. It doesn't matter too much because they're still effectively free creatures. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, just one enemy at any target. So you will miss out on that. But I think it's still fine anyway, because the +1 power boost is kind of like double strike for a lot of the smaller creatures. The most important card in the deck, it's just basically stuff like Bitter Blossom, ironically enough. Goblin Bombardment, I actually didn't find that useful, so I felt slightly sad that I used a rare wildcard in here, but I never wanted to just sacrifice my creatures for 1 damage. There always seemed to be something better to sacrifice them for, like Village Rites, for instance, which gives you 2 cards, the Rankle, which gives you a sack outlet, and there seems to be better other things, so I think I would probably take out the Goblin Bombardment. Impact Tremors as well, maybe, because if your commander is not creating 2 to 3 units on entry, then you're only ever going to get 1 guaranteed hit with this, with the Judith. I know that if you can use things that create multiple creatures like Anax, the Tremors would be better, but if Anax was the commander, then I'd use Impact Tremors. So in this deck, I don't know. Judith isn't necessarily just about spam. She does care more about death, I think, in this build. So keep that in mind. But the deck list will be in the description below. Thank you, Bubba, for lending me your list. And I'm sorry that I kind of butchered it and made it quite different. But I hope you appreciate just how much more efficient it is. And efficiency equals fun. It's not always cutthroat equals fun. And I haven't built this deck to be like, tier S, tier 1 sort of thing. It's just consistent and it's fun and it can do its thing, which is what you want to do. If you're not doing what the commander wants to do, then why using the commander? That's my main question and line of questioning. when creating decks. Always compliment your commander. It's how it should be built. But after all decisions are your own, so feel free to edit this deck list, do exactly what you want with it. Give it a go yourself. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.